For those of you following this course on Linux, here are the steps to install all the applications and software necessary to start your development. So the first thing, so here are the tools that are needed to be installed. First is the GNU ARM toolchain. So I'll just write it down. So first is the GNU ARM toolchain. Then you need to install the Cube programmer, STM Cube programmer. Then you need to install the STM Cube IDE. Okay. And that's it. And a few other applications are needed to be installed. For example, you need to install the install a serial monitor. So QtCom serial program. Okay. So this is what we are going to install. So these are the 4 applications that are going to come on the Linux machine. So to do that, the first thing that we need to do is to go to the ST site. So let us first install the GNU ARM toolchain. So the make utility is on Linux by default. The flavor of Linux that I am using here is Linux Mint. The steps for installation that I'm showing here should be applicable right across all the flavors of Linux. So Linux Mint, as you know, is a Debian based distribution, but then if you are using other distributions also, for example, you are using Arch Linux or you're using Fedora, this should be fine. This should do the trick. So and I'm trying to keep this as uniform as possible across operating systems like Windows as well. So let's go online, and I'm already on the website here, but then in case you are not on this page, what you need to do is just, let's say you are on your search engine, and just type GNU ARM toolchain. So type GNU ARM toolchain, press enter. So you will get this ARM GNU toolchain, ARM developer. Okay, click on that, and that will take you to the ARM developer program page. Wait for it to load, and then you'll get a link called download GNU or ARM GNU toolchain. Click on that. Once you're on the page, you have different toolchains, so you have to be careful about what you need. So since this is for Linux, so as you can see, the toolchain is a community supported pre-built GNU compiler toolchain for ARM based CPUs. So ARM GNU toolchain releases consists of cross toolchains for the following host operating systems. So for GNU Linux, cross toolchain available for x86, 64 and AER host architectures, and available for bare metal Linux targets. So similarly, you have toolchains for Windows and Mac OS as well. So since this is Linux, okay, we need to go down and look for Linux. So the top one is for Windows, that is ARC32 bare metal target. These are for Windows. So ARC64 bare metal target, GNU Linux. So we are not going to go for Windows tool chains here, we have to go for the Linux variant. So let's come down here. So this is x86-64 Linux hosted cross tool chains. So we have ARC32 bare metal target ARM non-ABI, ARC32 GNU Linux target hard float, okay, ARM non-Linux GNU EABI HF, and ARC64 bare metal target GNU Linux. So you have ARC64 GNU Linux target and ARC64. So now we have ARC64 Linux hosted cross tool chains. So we have ARC32 bare metal target ARM non-EABI. Okay, can you see this? And you have ARC32 Linux target with hard float. Okay, we will take this one. Okay, so we will take this tool chain and we will download it. So you have to click on it and it will ask for a download. So I have already downloaded the tool. I've already downloaded the tool chain. So it's already here, but this is how you need to download this tool chain. So I hope you are aware of from where you need to. So it is ARC64 Linux hosted cross tool chains, and then you come down and you have ARC32 bare metal target ARM non-ABI, and then you download this one in particular. You could download these as well, but it makes more sense to download this particular toolchain. Once the toolchain is downloaded, now these are pre-compiled binaries, so there is no installer here. What you need to do is, so let's go to the folder where the toolchain is downloaded. So it's in downloads. So I have the toolchains already downloaded from previously, but we'll go through all the steps. So this is your ARM GNU toolchain, and so your first step is to decompress or uncompress the toolchain. So you uncompress it and you'll get a particular folder. So it takes a while to uncompress. So after the extraction is over, we'll see a folder here. It has already come, but it is not yet completed. So let this complete. Okay, so it's done. So this is the tool chain basically. So if you open the folder, you'll find that there are a few more folders inside with binary include libexec, share, ARM non-ABI, and so on. So as far as this toolchain is concerned, it's pretty straightforward. What you need to do is to move this under. You can move it under slash user slash local also, but that's only for sysadmins. So as far as Linux is concerned, as you know, you can keep this anywhere. Personally, I prefer to keep it under /opt. So what I generally do is I do a sudo and then move this particular toolchain here. So what you have here, so arm gnu. So I have opened the terminal in here only. See, this is the downloads folder. So arm gnu. So this is the folder. So I just move it to /opt. That's all. So it will ask for my password. So I put my password and it will say that the directory is not empty. Okay. Now I have already moved it. So you will see this message. So I'll show you that this is already moved here. So if you deleted this now, so this will not delete because this is in the root directory. So to begin with, you will not have this folder. Okay, so when you do that move, you are going to see that your folder has come and sit here. That's all you need to do. Once you have moved that folder to this location /opt, you need to open up your, go to home and you need to open up your bash rc. So here, when you open your bash rc, you'll see that you have to add these two paths here. That is, you have to add the path to the tool that you have moved into path variable. So these are the two commands that you need to put. That is, export path where your particular tool chain is to the bin folder, and another one to the ARM-None-ABI library or lib. Okay, so these are the two paths that you need to add to your already existing path variable. Once this is done, so if you do ARM none ABI GCC, you'll see that it is already, it's taking the command. Though there are no input files, it is taking the command. Now if you really want to see it in action, so I have copied over one of my code examples onto this machine. So it doesn't have, it's a bare bones machine. It doesn't have anything, but I just copied it over. So if you want to see whether the toolchain works or not, you can just do a make here. If you do a make, you'll see that this toolchain is working because it has compiled the code and it has created your output binary. Okay. So this means that this toolchain is working. Now, since this is a new toolchain, we also need to double check if the hardware floating point code is being written properly by this toolchain. So we'll see that afterwards. But your toolchain is ready. So you can have your everything. So suppose you want to check if your obj dump is working. So you can do arm none and you'll see that you're getting options for obj dump. So the tool is working fine. And for the path that needs to be added, I'm going to add this to the course, so that separately, so that you know what string you need to add. It is better that you put it in out, but the version of the toolchain that you download here, it should match with that folder name, because sometimes maybe when you download it, the version may have changed. So you have to be careful about that. Do not copy this path exactly. You have to give the name of the folder that you have downloaded here. So that's how the ARM GNU toolchain can be installed on Linux. It's if you look at it, it is not that difficult. It is quite straightforward. So this is step 1. Step 2 is going into ST, and now the second step is installing the ST tools. So the first tool that we are going to install is the ID itself. So let's type cube ID here. So let's say STM32 cube ID. So we come here. So STM32 cube ID, ST microelectronics. So we have to download the cube ID from here. And for those of you who are first timers on the STM32web.com portal, the first thing that you do is to register yourself. So it's free. It's a free registration. So you have to register yourself, because you can download the tool without registration also. It will send you a link to your email ID, and then you have to click on the link and then download the tool. But oftentimes I have seen that it's a hassle. It doesn't work too well. So you have to do a create account for a new user, and then put in your details and create your account first. So salutation, and you have to put your first name, last name, email ID, email confirmation, function, so on and so forth. So put all the details there and register yourself first. Once you register yourself, you can log into ST. So since I have an ID, I will put my ID in. And my password. So let's log in. So once you are in the ST microelectronics portal, you might not be where you intended to be, because say you are somewhere else. So you have to go and to search for the tool. So just type cube ID here. So once and run a search, and you are going to find the cube ID link coming up here. So STM overall has been a bit slow, as I saw for the past few days, but anyway, could be faster on your end. So as you can see, this is the software, and this is a free software. This ID is free, and most of our course we will be following on this particular ID. Click on that. It's STM32 cube ID. Click on it, and you'll be taken to the product page. That is the development environment. So we will talk about the ID later, about the features of the ID and what it comprises of, what softwares are bundled into it, and so on. But right now, let us focus on just downloading the ID. So under the Get Software, you're going to see the tools getting listed. It is slow actually. So let us wait for a while. So now you have all the tools for different operating systems getting listed. So you have a STM32 cube ID Debian Linux installer, you have an STM32 cube ID generic Linux installer, and you have the STM32 cube ID RPM Linux installer. Okay, you have for Mac and Windows. So Mac and Windows is pretty straightforward, but as far as Linux is concerned, as you can see, there are multiple variants of the installer. Now what I would recommend you to download is the generic Linux installer. Now this has a few advantages, as I saw. One of the advantages is that if you are on a different flavor of Linux besides Debian, you can use this installer. So this should go through smoothly. For the Debian users, or for the who are on Ubuntu or Linux Mint like me, or any other flavor Debian distribution, you could download the Debian installer. The only disadvantage of the Debian installer that I saw was that it was pretty slow to install. So it took me quite a while for this installer to make this installer install the IDE. This one was much quicker in comparison. So when I had downloaded this, it installed instantly. The only thing that you have to take care of is it will prompt where it needs to install, and it will actually install it under OPT. So you have to be careful about that. So again, let's do a get latest. I have already installed it. You have to accept a license agreement, and then it will prompt you for a download. Now I have already downloaded it, so I'm not going to download it again. So if you do save, it's going to come here. So once you have downloaded it, you need to take a few steps to install it. Now the installation process is different from how you generally install things. So let's delete this toolchain here. That is a uncompressed toolchain, and so this is the CubeID installer. So let us unzip it. So let us extract it here first. You have to extract it. So once you extract the toolchain, you'll see that the toolchain has a .sh extension, like a shell script. So it is basically an archive with a .sh extension, and it is pretty straightforward to install. So once this installs, we will see how to go about the process. Now, even for the Debian installer that you saw, the Debian installer also comes with a .sh extension, and the process that you need to follow is the same. We will install as a super user, or we will use the sudo command, so that this installer goes and sits in the /opt directory. After and it has a license agreement. It will go through a license agreement, and it will install your tool. So let's see. So this has been unzipped into a .sh file. So, and this is a 1 GB file. Okay. The size can vary depending on the version that you download. So let us open a terminal here for this in downloads, and let's do. So we'll have to do this. We'll have to do sudo. Okay, and then we'll have to. Okay, let's try this out and see what happens first. st dash. So M32. st. So we are seeing that, okay, let's press tab. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll just copy the whole file name here and paste it in the, that's quicker rather than having to wait for this. So we'll do, that's it. And of course we'll have to put a ./ here. Okay, now we'll see something happen. It says command not found. Okay, now this it says because I have not yet changed the permissions for this particular file. Okay, so this is not yet an executable. So what we need to do is to convert it into an executable first. So we'll do chmod +x and then the file name. Okay. Once you do that and you run the command again, it will start installing. So remember, doing that, you could either do that by right clicking here if you are on a graphical interface like me on a Linux machine, and you can do a right click and go into properties and change the permission to executable, or you need to do it this way. So it will verify the archive. So at this point, I would insist that you maximize your terminal window, and you'll see the reason why. So it uncompresses the installer. So after uncompressing the installer, you have a license agreement for ST materials evaluation. Okay. So for this license agreement, you have to scroll through the entire license agreement. So when you scroll through, at one point you'll see it comes to I accept and I do not accept. Press Y here. It will continue, and then look at the install directory it is prompting you. It is prompting you to install it at /opt/st stm32cubid. Had you installed it without the sudo command, it will prompt you to install it in your home directory. So that is the difference. So if you forget, say, to put the sudo command, suppose it will install, but it will try to install in your home directory. I generally prefer the /op directory in the root. So I install here. And if you do it with sudo, it will prompt you this. Just press enter, because this you're okay with the path. And then it will continue installing the stm32cubid. And this installation is pretty fast. If you install the Debian package on your Debian based distributions, I've seen it to be quite slow. It took me about 25 odd minutes to install. So go ahead with this. So it is actually installing, and it will ask you a few more questions, because I will be installing the ST-Link tools also. So it will be asking me shortly about whether I need the tools, and I have to press yes there, and it will again get me into a license agreement which I have to agree with. And once the install goes through, we'll open the IDE and see that it has been installed properly. And after that, we will also see how to uninstall it in case you are thinking of uninstalling the IDE. For ARM GNU tools, you just need to delete that folder that has been copied into OPT, because nothing is actually put into the system. So it's a very light install there. You just need to delete that folder, and that's it. Here also it is a light install only, because you don't need to, this doesn't get into the system. It just creates a desktop shortcut, and it creates a shortcut in the start menu. But then, but to uninstall it, you cannot just delete it. You have to follow a proper procedure to uninstall this. So after the installation completes, you are prompted with whether, so here the package is installed, and you are prompted whether you want to install a Segger JLink UDEV rules, to which you give yes. I had pressed an enter here, so it just took it like that. But in your case, do not press enter. Let this complete, and it will come to this prompt. Just press a Y, and you'll get the license agreement like this. Press the down arrow and go down like you did previously, and do a Y. So you accept the license, and it is going to uncompress the Segger JLink UDEV rules, and your installation is completed. So for you to check whether your installation is being done properly or not, you can check in a few places on your. So let's see if it has come. So see, your STM electronics cube ID is installed. You can just do a add to desktop, so that you will get the shortcut here. Double click on that, and hopefully the IDE should come up. It takes a while because it's based on, as you know, Eclipse is based on Java, and it's a bit slow, so it's a bit sluggish. But nonetheless, once it comes up, it is quite okay. So this is the first time your STM32 ID is opening up, and it will ask you for a, where it needs a workspace. So it will prompt you a workspace. You can leave it wherever it prompts you to, and just do a launch. So it is launched now. Once it launches, you are going to be directed to the information center now, and it will open up the release notes for your Cube ID. It says that some project files are associated with an unreachable program and all that. So would you like to associate? Let's say no. Let's say no. So you are not going to get these messages because I had tried it out once before. I'm getting all these messages. So I'll just do ask me later here. It forces me to select yes. I'll just do an ask me later here. And let's see what the ID has to say. So this is what you get first when the ID opens up. Close the information center. You don't need to. So since we are going to do everything bare metal, we'll have to start like this. We'll have to create a new makefile project in the directory containing existing code. So I'm just showing you that the ID works here, but we'll see all of this later. So project name could be my first STM32 project, and existing code location. So we are going to work on code which is already existing, and it's a makefile project. So we'll do a code example we'll just choose this folder which has makefiles and everything in it, and we'll choose MCU ARM GCC. This is very important, and we could keep it at C and C++. We'll choose MCU ARM GCC. This is the tool. This is the ARM GCC tool that we are going to choose. Not cross GCC, not Linux GCC, but this one, and do a finish. Once you do a finish, you'll see that the project gets added to your Project Explorer page. That's all you need to do. You've successfully set up your IDE. Let's see if we can build the project. So let's do a clean and see if it works. So it will ask you clean all projects, start a build immediately. Don't start a build immediately. Just do clean. When you do a clean, you'll see that it runs a make clean here. Now, these makefiles have been written by us. Okay, so we'll see how to write makefiles and so on. And this has been picked up from the makefile itself. Now let us do a build of the project. So it will do a make all, and the project has been built without errors and warnings, and you will have the binary file come here. Okay, so the ID works. We will see the ID in debug mode later, but as of now, we have been able to successfully install the IDE. The next step is to install the programmer. So STM32 Cube programmer. Okay, so like we said, there was a bit of a hang up here, so we could not go through the release note for the Cube ID. So let us go through the release note now. So it's an integrated development environment based on Eclipse framework. It's aimed at users developing embedded software in C++ for ST Microelectronics STM32 products. Okay. Now let us see what it is comprised of. It is based on Eclipse 2022-23 CDT version 10.6.2. It uses the GNU tools for STM32 based on GNU tools for ARM embedded processors. So mind it, whatever we installed as ARM GNU tools is a separate setup that is not going to be used here. The GNU tools that you see are installed here is different. This is internal to the IDE. Now the reason we installed a separate set of ARM GNU tools because we are going to in the makefile linker segment, we are not going to use the IDE, but we are going to use the same makefiles to compile the code on the terminal, and we'll have to go through and the makefile process there. So for that we will not be using the IDE because we'll be using commands like obj copy, obj dump, and readlf and so on. And for that we will be using the ARM GNU tool that we downloaded. So this one is different. It has ST-Link GDB server, it has Segger J-Link GDB server, and it has got an open on chip debugger, that is OpenOCD debugger. Okay, and there are some Windows specific build tools like BusyBox Make 4.2.1. It has got some Linux specific build tools like it includes the Make tool internally. It has got the Mac OS Make tool and so on. So this is what the IDE is comprised of, but it is beautifully packaged, and as you saw, it was so easy to set up. I find Eclipse a bit convoluted and complicated to work with, but this particular IDE gave me no issues, and I could use the IDE and do my work and do my debugging with minimal intervention into the settings. Though we need to have some settings make some settings in the IDE, that is quite minimal, and it's quite easy, as we shall see. And our next tool is STM32 flasher. Okay, so let's now, so we are already logged in here. So what we'll do is we'll type STM32 cube programmer. Now why do we need the programmer? So the IDE provides you with the programmer, but this again we need for that chapter on linker and makefile, because we are going to use the STM32 cube programmer when we are flashing the code there. So and see, in that chapter we really don't need to flash the code on the board, but then again it will be for our satisfaction that we will whatever makefile and a linker that we have learned, and we need to have a confirmation that that is really that those are really working binaries that we have created. The name of the tool is STM32 cube prog. So if you write cube programmer, you will get that string, but I tried a few other string combinations and I was not getting it, but give it a cube programmer or STM32 cube prog and you should get that program. Now if you click on that, again you will be taken to the download page for that particular tool. Now this is only your flasher. It does nothing else. It just flashes your software on the board. This is not an IDE, and the installer is also different. It is not a .sh file, and this is a GUI installer. It has a Windows 64, Windows 32, Mac and Linux installer, and this has only one installer to choose from, so it's simpler in that regard. Just do an accept and you're going to get a login register screen, because probably I have been thrown out of the STM32 because I logged out. No, I didn't log out, probably timed out. Nevertheless, once you download this, so I have it already downloaded on the machine. You saw the process. log in, come here, put the search string, okay, and do a get latest for the Linux tool. Once you come here, what is going to be downloaded for you is this. So you're going to get this one. Okay, it's going to be a zip archive and .zip. And when you unzip it, this is what you're going to get. So if you do an unzip or extract here, you're going to get a folder like this, which will have a STM32 programmer.exe and .linux. We'll choose this one. Double clicking on this also works, but we'll do it through shell. So we just do sudo and setup, okay, // setup, and let's see, STM32 12.0 dot, let's do Linux, okay, and see what happens. And it opens up a GUI installer. Okay, after installation, please check up whether this has been has execute permissions or not. So go to properties and check if it has execute permissions or not. So go to permissions, and if you do not have allow executing the file as a program, then allow that to happen. Now we have a GUI installer comes up in this case. Like in the case of CubeID, you saw that the installation was all done on the prompt. Here you have a GUI installer. So it says next. Just go forward, accept the license agreement, next, and you say I have read and understood. You may or may not consent to this. Do a next. Now this path that it provides you, you'll see is different from the previous one, that is user local ST microelectronics, and it goes into user local in the root. Now it is better that you leave it like this, because I have seen if you choose a different path, then the uninstall becomes a problem here. So it's better that you leave it like that. So leave the path here and just do a next, and it will install it. Okay. So core files, STM32 programmer, signing tool, and keygen. Keep all of this and then go to next. This installation is quite quick. It finishes up fast because it's a small tool. And it's done. Let's do a next and say create shortcuts in the start menu, additional shortcuts in the desktop, create shortcut for all users, and do a next, and then done. So let's see if it has come up or not. So that installation is completed. So as you can see, the programmer has installed. This is your programmer interface, and we will go through this interface when we are flashing code. So at least we know that it has been installed successfully. So the fourth tool that we need to install is QtCom. Okay, QtCom is the serial monitor. So let us now, the QtCom will have to install through the software center. So we'll have to install through the software manager, and let's minimize this. I could also have used Minicom, but QtCom is very easy to use, so I would stick to that. So let's see what it finds out. So This is the graphical serial terminal. So just do an install here. That's all you need to do, and do a continue. And we'll have QtCom installed on our machine. Takes a while, it installs, but this is a small program. It is not a big one. Or have I chosen the flat pack? Okay, do not try not to choose the flat pack, because it is very, it's a big one, so do not do that. We'll install this package, and it is a small one. It's like 498 KB only, so let's install that. That was a mistake. Do not do the flat pack install. You have to put your, this installation will go through much faster. So once it installs, you'll see that QtCom has come to your desktop. That's it, it's done. So let's see if QtCom has come. Yeah, here you see it. So when you click on it, you'll have the QtCom come up. There you go. So that's the QtCom UI. It looks like this, and so when you connect your serial, connect some device to your serial port, you'll get the device port name and so on here. Okay. Now that concludes installation of all the 4 applications that we needed. Now if you need to uninstall the applications now, suppose you need to uninstall the applications, that is also quite straightforward. You could, let's close this. Say you do cube ID, and right click and do an uninstall. Okay, it will uninstall your cube ID and remove it from your this thing. If you want to do uninstall the programmer, it's similar. Type your program name. This is of course on Linux Mint, and if you want to uninstall cube ID from your from the command prompt, or from your shell, what you can do is you can go into that particular folder, and there is an uninstall.sh shell script which you need to run. So if you run that uninstall.sh, it will uninstall your, so it has got installed under opt. Inside the opt, you have your st under st you have the cube ID. If you go inside cube ID, you will have an uninstall.sh. So if you go into the shell and you type sudo ./uninstall.sh, it is going to uninstall the ID. This is one way. Another way, as we saw, is through the menu itself. Right click on the ID, right click on whatever comes up, that is cube ID, okay, and you'll get an uninstall option. So those are the 2 ways by which you can remove the software.